Hello there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this short update on angelic metamorphosis, on body changes. So, I haven't been here for a while in this beautiful sacred space. It's a space where you're surrounded with, it's a fairy circle created with stones, and it has lots of wild oregano and spices and lots of thorns, so it's very sacred, and I haven't been here for a while. And since I have a lot of these spontaneous downloads when I'm running, I usually have my sports camera with me just in case, so that I can have these portable on-the-go videos to share with all of you. And today I really wish to share on this topic of what it means to become our angelic self, because a lot of people are talking about Ascension, 5D, 4D, this D, this and that, and there's still a lot of confusion. So first thing we need to know is that we are all on our own path. We do know that already. And this means that we're going to embody our own frequency, our own dimension in a way. So nobody's like us. We are us. And a lot of times we're seeking for that similarity in paths, other ways, and in other people, and in other movements and in groups. And in a way, this coming into this Aquarian age does mean, coming into this collective and group consciousness. But towards traveling in that direction, first we need to really pass our own initiation, which means total self-acceptance, self-love, and realizing who we are without needing that approval outside of us. So that's the first thing. So the second thing is this discernment, what this really means, because our path is our own, and it doesn't mean that everybody now who is following the awakening movement is going this path of complete body ascension. And if you think back to the times of Joshua and the sacred initiates, and this wasn't the only time, there were many different eras on the earth, and this knowledge about physical ascension was usually dedicated to those few devotees, to true disciples of God, Goddess, of the Gnostic teachings of the Law of One, and all that comes forth from that. So what does it mean to really resurrect and to ascend in physical sense? And this means that maybe some people in this lifetime are only going to choose self-empowerment, their first time in their awakening, they're embracing themselves, or some people just choosing to love themselves. But Ascension Pioneers are really going towards that path of physical ascension, and that's why I even call this Ascension Pioneers, and paving the way. There's still, very few people. What Spirit showed me last night, I was, this doesn't happen very often, but a lot of times I get this crown of love. It's what I call it. It's that tingling sensation around my crown, and I start to receive these galactivations, as I call them, and it's not a state of asking or thinking. It just comes. It comes when it's time. And I felt really inspired to share this with all of you, because I was shown that it's not a lot of people really who are choosing this path. And this does kind of sometimes feel lonely, rather isolated. But this path of self-mastery is not something that's in the interest of everybody, and when you meet people from all walks of life, a lot of times you see that what they want for themselves, what they're wishfully thinking that they do desire, and what they're choosing as their living choices in the now, it doesn't really reflect it. It's not harmonized. So maybe someone says, I want this life of freedom, but they're choosing to work in a physical 3D job, when they're working for the system or the government, things like that. Or someone is saying, I really want this path of being more of my galactic self, and at the same time they're not creating space for it. They're still, they're choosing to go out and party or be with friends and hang out all the time. It's just a few examples. I'm not really thinking of anyone specific when I'm saying this. It's just really rare few people who are really choosing to walk this, and they know that the path of physical ascension is devotion to that. It's what they did, when they walked in these groups and in circles. And I always have Joshua in mind when I think about this. It's just one of those pillars, and that's everything they were dedicated to. They didn't do other things, Of course, they were rejoicing in life, and that's what ascension is. It's pure joy. But what Spirit showed me last night, because I said, wow, sometimes it feels, maybe you think you find someone, so okay, maybe they reflect a bit of that path, and in the end you see that the embodiment is not there. So what they said is that, when I say they, I mean the universal, the monadic presence. And they said that not a lot of people are still choosing that, because it's a very high frequency. Sometimes you might hear, about relationships. There are certain books about these new age, what would I call them, volunteer souls, these light worker beings. They're saying, why am I not meeting people like myself? Why am I feeling so alone? Why does it feel like this sometimes? And they're saying, well, we're constantly sending you people, but you're not embracing it. A lot of times we are receiving, you know, but they're not maybe being upgraded the way we are. So they said that for me, for my example, it's an amazing, extraordinary miracle what I managed to embody. And they literally said, you're a good girl. And it doesn't mean good, bad, anything like that. It was just a celebration of what I embodied at this time. And they said that not a lot of people can hold this level of light, can hold this frequency, and can settle for this, and are choosing this. So what this means is that this path of choosing to embody our angelic self is going to bring changes, which will be, sometimes people say sacrifice. It is in a way, but it's a beautiful sacrifice because it brings you complete alignment with the self, or spirit always speaks first in your life. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. Because when we still choose according to the old and our vibration is already so upgraded and uplifted, it creates this separation in our physical body. And a part of us says yes to something, and a part of us says no to that. And we're already choosing that new. But when we're feeling that conflict between our inner state and what's there in the outer, will be resulted in how we physically experience things as well, in our own choices. So we do feel that micro-macro playing out with this, because nothing is really separate. It's what we're feeling. We're feeling this bridge. We're feeling this sometimes incompletion of full synthesized, synchronized self. So to embody the angelic self means that you're fully whole in yourself. You're fully aligned. All the voices within you, coming from different angles and perspectives, unify, and they become one single voice, the voice of spirit. And that's what it means, because your seventh dimensional angelic self is your sovereign soul self. It's pure love through which you were created as a sovereign soul individual. And as you begin to be lifted with this frequency of this higher self, not just knowing of it, there's a lot of people who say, I'm in awareness of my higher self, but it's not the same. It doesn't necessarily imply embodiment. So I do meet people from all walks of life who, for example, they're very open to this, but for them, everything is still a lot about information. They're gathering a lot of information. And I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm saying that you can really simply, through your own discernment, you will see vibrationally where people are at when you invite new people in your life, or when you're just seeing them as reflections of where you are. That's what it is. Everybody is helping us. Everything is helping us on this path. But it's all about us. I'm not saying this in a selfish way. I'm saying in the way that we, through these reflections, we see what we're not choosing, or maybe what we're still wanting to choose to align with. So it's all about alignment on this path. Probably animals around all the time. So what this means is that when you meet people, you will easily discern where they are in vibration, because their lifestyle, their choices will reflect that to you, not just what they're saying. Because we can all say many things. But physical embodiment means that every particle of that light is flowing through your root chakra, and it grounds itself into the Earth Star portal, so that you physically are rooted in that essence. You're not just thinking about that essence or wanting to expand in that essence, but you live that essence. So when I think about this, is this pure angelic self is living from your own creative resources, from your own soul. Your soul is all. It's the resource of everything. It's not money. Everything, even physically, that surrounds you with beauty, what you create through grace, but it comes within you, it comes through your soul. It's created through your soul. And it can be created because it begins to be physical. There's a lot of people who are dreamers, in a way, or they're talking about telepathic communication. But what I see is that a lot of them are approaching this from the mental level. It's not the same. Telepathy is not mind-to-mind connection. True angelic beings, we connect through the heart. So this means that in the heart unification, you need intimacy, but a lot of people are lacking intimacy. They're very shallow in their relationships, or they're wanting telepathy to take place before they really unify with someone. Things are not so like this, you know. It's a path. It's a path of complete wisdom and maturation in this, what it means, because I don't even call it telepathy, I call it heart apathy. It means that your heart is fully open. And for example, you will notice this in relationships when you're really close with someone, even if sometimes you have these, you know, still oppositions happening for your growth and advancement, you will notice that you will be synchronizing through the heart. The more open you will be, the more you'll also read each other's minds, but not about that. And yesterday I had a talk with my mom, and she said the same thing. And I'm looking at her and say, "You're so wise." She says, "I know, I'm getting these impulses because she's also embodying her true soul more and more, and that's why she's saying and feeling these things that were always within her, but she didn't embody them to that level that she does now." And she said, "Well, it's a complete unification with someone. When you know them so much, you have this feeling for them. You almost like know what they're gonna do, what they need, what, you know." And I had this dream last summer about sitting next to a boy who knew everything about me, and he said, "Finally, you're sitting here, thank God." He said, "I've been waiting for such a long time." And he knew everything about me, what I need, what resources, what I'm like. Complete heart empathy. It's not telepathic. It's not, somebody says people do these experiments with the mind, and they know what the other is thinking, and it's not what telepathy, true heart empathy is about. It's about being so open, so intimate with all of life, so present. And I see a lot of people are not there because they're saying, "I want this," but they're doing other things, and they're more superficial. Like, I'm going somewhere, I'm doing something, I'm meeting these people, and this true heart empathy requires our participation in life. But what a lot of times I notice is our energy is scattered, and I'm talking about this for everybody. This applies to everybody. Our energy can be so scattered. We want so many things. We're following different resources online, different videos, reading different things, doing so many things. And it's okay. It's a part of our multidimensionality that's growing up, that's emerging, but it's still not mature when we can't synthesize it. So I see a lot of information that people put in themselves is not even needed. A lot of it is excess because the ego thinks, "Okay, I need this for my growth." When what you really need is your soul will show you, It will show you at exactly the right time. It will come within. It will be like this inner voice so strong. And we forget that this biggest part of guidance is this inner voice. It's not what we read outside or, and sometimes these resources can be even conflicting, and that creates this inner conflict. Okay, this person said that person said that, but these are all signs that help us to move more into our heart. But what do we feel? Because I see a lot of people have such amazing spiritual gifts, but instead of sharing them already and creating, becoming a creator, so participant with life, they're rather following what other people are doing. It's not the same, and this is where the joy really springs from. This is the true angel that we are becoming, is so joyful when it's participating with life and it's creating things of value through the soul essence. And this means that you will start to be so fully present, so aware. You will feel things. You'll be intimate with life. You will be participating with life in a different way. So your life won't be just about what you're doing, where you're going, who you're going with, but it will be what essence you're birthing, and it becoming physical through your root. Not just staying here and gathering all this spiritual information. Spirituality is not about debates and discussions and thinking what's spiritual, thinking what's not. All of life is already spiritual. All is of spirit. My mantra is trust spirit, trust life. Vertical becoming the horizontal. There's no separation here. And the second part of the video, I really want to address what this change of the angelic self, of this graceful self brings, is our bodies are changing and they're starting to speak to us in a different way. So I'm going to share my own example with you, and you see if this applies to you in your own life. As you know, I like to run and I like to mountaineer. And recently, about a few times that I went, I had the strong signals to do it in a different way. And I was a bit shocked because I loved so much climbing and mountaineering, and I could do this big peak elevation in one day, going up, going down. But about 3 times recently, I had the strong signals of body pains. One time I even shared with you, I fell like this on my face. The 3rd time, again, I had this complete back failure. And I started to think, okay, body is sending me signals. What's there? What do I need to change? And these changes don't mean that our bodies are weaker now, but they're becoming gentler. To be in our angelic essence of the embodiment means that everything will become more refined. You will be attuned to more subtle frequencies. So these denser things, maybe even denser forms of exercise, this is this climbing part. I'm not saying climbing itself, but doing so much in one day and with such a huge backpack, it's a lot of burden. And I felt, okay, this really comes a lot of it from this, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I can do this, I'm a powerful being, I'm muscle. But what we're really developing with this graceful angelic activation is the inner muscle. And this subtle things, like yoga, dance, breath work, hiking, but easy hiking. So as you know, when certain forms of exercise also include certain things that are not very gentle, like when you go mountaineering, you have these heavy shoes, well, if you choose them, with these plastic rubber, under the foot, these layouts, and they can be so hard, and all my fingernails, they just hurt so much. I said, okay, I don't need to suffer anymore, so what's a different way? And then the soul was starting to reveal to me that there's a new way, there's a new approach that we're anchoring with this. And I got a bit like, wow, this is a huge change. Does this mean I'm never going to go to a mountain again? They said, no, the approach needs to change, because the body is becoming more refined. It's not weaker, it's just gentler, it's more graceful. And with this, you will notice your life also needs to become more peaceful. Like when your vibration rises, you no longer like to do things in a hectic way. So what I notice is sometimes in the past, I was so resilient, I could do that, I could withhold that, but that doesn't mean there's strength there. Sometimes we think the more we can uphold, the more strength we have, and it's not true. True strength comes from the graceful self. And what I notice is now I can't even tolerate hectic decisions, hectic situations, fast, you need to make a choice fast. No, why? So the first thing we need to do in this angelic presence is to anchor our inner temple before starting your day. A few moments of meditation. This means just being present with your I am, not thinking anything, even if there's thoughts, just observe them. Yoga, starting your day slowly. Sometimes, what happens to me is I wake up, but let's say my mom would already be awake before a few hours, and she's already in her day, but I haven't yet, stepped into my day, in my routine, and she's already like, and with information like, wait a minute, not yet, I need to first anchor myself, feel into this day, tap into this day. And what this means is a lot of times when you will unify these different voices, these different influences into one synchronized, harmonized, unified self, you will see that life is so simple, and there's a lot of things will fall off, and there's a part of you that's still clinging on and will say, oh, I can't lose this, but what if, oh no, but I gotta do this, everybody else is doing it, or everybody else is participating with life this way. When your soul is saying, look, you are a unique being, a unique dimension, a unique particle of existence, and you embrace yourself through the truth of self-love by just embracing your path fully. And a lot of times, those of us who feel very alone in this path of mastery, a lot of times we don't feel lonely, we just feel alone, if you know the difference. And you will feel that it's really important that you embrace your path fully, because that is what true self-love means. It's not just saying, okay, I love myself, that's one part. And to spoil yourself, nourish yourself, all of that, have a proper amount of rest, that is important. But that true self-love is that complete embracing of your path, your unique destined choosing, your unique vibration you're choosing to embody, everything about you so unique, and you have such strong reverence for it that you don't no longer come out of it by thinking you need to do something because maybe others do it, or it's popular, or you're supposed to have that kind of experience, when your soul really guides you so perfectly already. And this trust, this complete trust, is what we're developing, all of that. And it's an amazing part of mastery. It's to choose every part of that. And I share this in my mastery courses to deepen this experience, because my mastery courses were designed to help you with this path, to be more aligned, to know what it means to live your I am presence, not just to be aware what I am presence is, because you're not even aware of it if you can't feel and live it on every level. That's just thinking about it then. So this is what it means, and what Spirit is showing me. There's not a whole lot of people that are on that level, that are choosing, this devoted path to ascension, which means that life will be really simplistic, so things that maybe other people are still choosing to do, you no longer need. Somebody recently said to me, and I said, wow, you're choosing that? And the person said, yeah, sometimes you need that to see that maybe you don't need it anymore. I said, yeah, that's true. But for me personally, because I've gone through this so much, and I felt I've lived through certain things, I said, but I don't need it 3 times to repeat to know that I don't need that. So wisdom of the heart, you don't always need physical experiences to know the essence of something. So people say that's judgment. It's not true. It's discernment, because you energetically already tapping into it. Let's say you want to create something, but by just thinking about it, you already sometimes had an experience. So you maybe won't physically be guided to do something or go somewhere or participate in life that way, because you've already felt into it. And that's what we're building, this inner muscle, this heart trust. And if the voice will, afterwards you had that tapping into, say yes still, or whether it will say no, you will know, you will feel. And you have to then trust this voice, because a lot of times we do know, but we don't trust with it, so we don't follow through with the guidance in our physical life. But that's the main part. Trust is not yet mastered when we can't follow through with what we're feeling and receiving. So to be in our graceful angelic self means, like I said, the body, this morphogenetics is taking place. Our bodies are physically changing. They're needing a different approach. And if we were used to something from before, well, sometimes we can, as humans, hold on so much to this, what we've known, but we've outgrown it. Maybe it will take a while for us to adjust it. And I think this period right now with planetary retrograde, especially with Venus, which is what we really value, and we have this coming together in conjunction with Jupiter again. It happens 3 times this summer. And also with Saturn, there's this square with Jupiter, which means we really have to dedicate ourselves to us, to our path of expansion, because Jupiter is expansion, Saturn is that commitment, sometimes limitation, sacrifice in the physical sense. You know, how do we really expand, but through physicality? What is physicality for us? So when you look at the beings, they're choosing different things. Recently, I've seen someone said that, you know, we're here on Earth, we got to do earthly things, and those who are only here in the upper realms, and only angelic, and only ascension, and all about Uranus and Neptune connections, not these, you know, earthly connections. It sounded a bit judgmental, because it's not that way. You know, everybody's choosing their own path. Remember, everything is a particle of source that is seeking an experience that will have divine remembrance to remember itself, to live its unique expression out. But it's all one. So even if someone is choosing that, or it's a bit new agey or fluffy or whatever you may wish to call it, that's their experience. Maybe that's what they need to go through. And that's what I'm saying. When you're in your angelic heart presence, you only think about you. You think about you as the gift of divine remembrance that is flowing uniquely through you, and you don't really use others as, you know, you judge what they're choosing. You're just seeing it as a reflection of maybe what you're not choosing, or where you are now, or what maybe you would wish to be choosing, and then align with that, and then of course embody it. So the thing is that there's no judgment here, and it's true that some beings are more anchored just here, some beings are very physical, anchored just there in materiality, but a lot of us here are bridges. We're in the heart bridges, that upper and the lower, and it really remembers that it's all one. And in this higher heart space connection, we're really prepared for physical ascension, because physical ascension occurs through the higher heart. It's what it is. It is what it is, and listen to your body, really pay attention to it. There's a lot more I can share here, and as I've shared before, I will be moving deeper into this and this angelic path, and sharing what it really means to be an angel incarnate, to have your angelic self, not just to be an earth angel, but to really embody this consciousness. And it's beyond just the 5th dimensional frequency we talk about, and to not be so limited in just one particular dimension, but to continue to expand in this and to anchor our state of grace. So I'll be moving into that. I need lots of preparation in this time. In this month, I'm still preparing in my music, in my crystal jewelry, what I'm creating, everything I'm doing, I'm reforming in a way, so it takes lots of preparation. Vibrationally, things are changing for me, so physically as well. It takes a lot of adjustment sometimes. So if you're guided to support this and what I'm sharing, there's many ways you can share and support, not just by donating, but also by purchasing my unique set of Light production items on my page, Set Up Light. You can also buy crystal stones from me that I find in the sacred mountains. There's a lot of effort that takes to go there. Lots of heart stradius, physical activities, and you know, many other ways and forms as well as you're feeling through your heart. So thank you for those of you who are already doing that, and looking forward to my next sharing with you. So much love, wisdom, power, and the state of grace as always. May you be blessed. Bye-bye. So I'm showing you this beautiful sacred space, and at the same time I would like to remind you again that our spirits For a lot of us, they've come from many different places and realms, and they're already illuminated. For a lot of us, Ascension pioneers, they're already wise and ancient. But remember, it's the body, and it's the beautiful butterflies flying here. It's the body that we're upgrading. It's the body, it's the physical aspect, it's the inner child, the part of us that experiences creation, that we are lifting, that we're uplifting. See, a beautiful butterfly is showing us this. It is reflecting this to us. And this is what we need to remember, because a lot of times we think we don't need to have work, we're already so evolved. It's true, but the bodies are not, and we're helping this whole human experience. And in a way, a lot of us are like this conduits, or this conducts for these galactic experiments. So when I say experiment, it's nothing bad. It's not instrumental, it's not robotic, because it's done through love. And Source always experiments, of course. We're all experiments in creation. But remember, creation is not separate. But at the same time, the Holy Trinity aspect is here, which is Source and creation, and that which experiences creation. So this part, the physicality, the child, divine childhood experience, this is what we are maturing. This part we are illuminating. This part we are embodying. This part we are lifting up and ascending. So this is what this ascension is about, and a lot of galactic experiments have been moving in that direction. And again, when I say experiment, I mean it's all through divine love. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the scenery and the beautiful butterfly from this beautiful secret mountain space.